Hey guys, welcome back for our third video on our concentration and focus series. Our first one is we talked about my turn, your turn, and following directions. The second one was about learning to focus with our eyes, our ears, voices off, and our bodies still. So that was the one that we did before this one. And then today, we're going to be focusing on hearing. So you really using our ears to focus in on what the speaker is saying and listening very closely to detail. So I've drawn a picture over here that you guys haven't seen yet. And what you're going to do today is you're going to have to draw that picture from me describing it to you. I can only use my words, and you cannot ask questions clearly because you're on the other side of the video. But if you're playing this with your family, if you're the listener, you're not allowed to ask any questions. You're only allowed to listen. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab my picture, and while I do that, you guys can pause the video, and you guys need just a pencil and a piece of paper, or a pen or crayon, just something to write with, and a piece of paper, and I will be right back. And you guys can pause me if you need to. Alright guys, I am back with my picture here. So I'm just going to describe what I am seeing, and you're going to have to draw the same picture that I drew. Are you guys ready? Alright, so we're going to start with a big square in the middle of your paper. So a big square in the middle of your paper. Alright, so in that square, you're going to draw a diagonal. So it's going to go from the top right to the bottom left, and it's going to be a line that just goes from the top right to the bottom left diagonal. It kind of halves the entire square into like two triangles. Alright, under that square is going to be two circles. It's outside of the square. One is on the left and one is on the right, and they're pretty small. So two small circles on the outside bottom of that square. Okay? On the top of the square, on the outside top, right in the middle, you're going to draw a pretty big circle. So draw a circle outside top of that square. Awesome. Now you're going to draw a triangle pointing upward, and all sides of the triangle will touch that circle you just drew. So draw a triangle with the point to the top, and all sides of the triangle will be around that square, around that circle, touching that circle. Alright, so we are ready with the picture. You guys should have drawn the same picture that I have here. Okay, I'm going to turn this around and see if your picture looks like my picture. Awesome. So we're going to play this game one more time. I'm going to erase this, and then we're going to play the game again. Okay, let me get my eraser. Hey guys, so we done the first picture, and I bet some of you guys were really close to what my picture looked like. If you weren't, that's okay. We'll try again on this turn. And just remember, really focus in on what I'm saying. Okay, and if you're playing this at home with family, remember you can't ask any questions if you're the listener. Alright, so here is the picture I just drew. It is a rectangle going sideways. So that means it's not like a long rectangle, it's kind of like a wide rectangle. So the rectangle goes sideways and it takes up most of your paper. Okay, then in the top left corner inside that triangle, you're going to make a little square. Okay, so it's going to be like a little square on the top left, and it's going to touch the top of your rectangle and the side of your rectangle. So make a little square on the top left of that rectangle you just did. Okay, now you're going to draw a line that separates the middle of that square. So start at the top of that little square you just drew, right in the middle, and draw a line all the way down through your square, all the way down through your rectangle, and then keep on going down to like the bottom of the page. Okay? On the very bottom of that line you just drew, you're going to draw a circle. and that circle is kind of going to be halved by that line. So draw the circle on top of the line you just drew, and the bottom of the line should be touching the bottom of your circle. So your circle is going to be like cut in half by that line. Okay? All right, and then in the bottom corner of your rectangle, you're going to draw another circle. Just a little circle. It's not touching anything. It's just inside the rectangle on the bottom right corner. All right, guys, are you ready to see the picture? Does your picture look like this? Awesome. So let's talk about what we just did with our ears. So our ears, let's make sure that we were focusing the best we can. So whenever we're drawing a picture, just like this picture that we just had to draw, we need to be sure that our room that we're using when we're trying to focus is quiet. Now that means you can still have like quiet music playing, like piano music or calming music, that's fine. But you probably don't want to have anything on the TV or anything really loud going on, like kids playing video games in the room that's with you, because that's really hard to focus and concentrate. So parents, it might be a great idea to set up the room for studying where it's a nice, calm, quiet space and no one else is really doing anything around them that can distract them. So no video games, no loud TV. If you guys can, if you could use earbuds whenever you're doing things on the computer, or if you're watching TV, it might be an option to use earbuds or earphones for that. So I know some of us have been in our same spaces, and it is kind of hard to have the whole house quiet if you're doing homework, but just kind of make it a quiet, settled area just to help focus and concentrate. So yes, our ears are listening, our voices are off, so that was the other thing that we had to do in our video, or at home. If you're playing this with your family, is that you should not have any talking going on if someone is explaining something to you. So let's seek first to understand before we actually ask questions. So that means listening with your whole body and hearing what the person has to say. All right, guys, so great job on your focus challenge. We'll be right back with our video, and today we are going to be reading Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I'll catch you back in just a second. All right, guys, we are back. Pepper is here with us. Okay, guys, so that was Pepper. She's already jumped off the couch, but that's okay. She's going to go outside and play. But before we start the book, I wanted to see if you guys could figure out 5 things that changed in the video that we just watched. So there were 5 things that I changed while we were doing the video. If you need to, you can go back and rewind it and see if you can figure out what it was. All right, so Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Everyone ready? Let's get started. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Henrietta meets someone new. When someone new comes to our neighborhood, we sometimes wonder if people will like that person more than they like us. Let's pretend that Henrietta Pussycat is worried about a visitor who is coming to the neighborhood of make-believe. Henrietta Pussycat was on her way to visit Grand Prairie. She was walking along, thinking, I like this neighborhood. I have so many friends here. I hope this neighborhood always stays the same. I hope nothing ever changes. But when Henrietta got to the Eiffel Tower, where Grand Prairie lived, she could see right away that something was different. There, in the middle of the tower, was a picture of the prettiest, fanciest tiger Henrietta had ever seen. Bonjour, Henrietta, Grand Prairie called from his balcony. Do you like this picture? Oh, why, yes, Henrietta said. Who is that beautiful tiger? She's my granddaughter. Her name is Colette, answered Grand Prairie. She's coming here for a visit, all the way from Paris. Henrietta thought for a minute. We don't need any visitors here, she said to herself. We're all happy with each other. I don't want anyone new to come. Henrietta didn't feel like visiting Grand Prairie anymore, So she turned around and walked away. I wonder what feeling she's having right now. Can you guys guess what feeling Henrietta might be having? If you guessed jealous, you're right. There's our Pepper. She's coming to listen to the story. I'll go visit X the owl instead, Henrietta decided. I like X, and he likes me. We can play together. But when Henrietta got to the tree where X lived, she could see right away that something was different there too. X wasn't in his tree. He was on the ground with a big piece of cardboard and some brushes and a can of bright red paint. May I have a brush too, so we can play together? Henrietta asked. Sure, Hen. Here you are, said X. I'm painting a sign that's going to say, Welcome, Colette. Suddenly, Henrietta didn't feel like painting anymore. She gave the brush back to X and walked away. Henrietta went to Elena Fairchild's museum go-round. I like Lady Elaine, she said, and she likes me, she thought. We don't need extra people to have fun. But when Henrietta got to the museum, she could see right away that something was different there as well. There was a big banner on top of the museum with letters that spelled out something special. Literally, something special. Hey, Lady Elaine, how are you? Henrietta called to her friend. Lady Elaine came out from the museum. It's all about Paris, so Colette will feel at home when she gets here. Henrietta wrinkled her nose and said, But this is not her home. This is our home. We don't want anyone new to come here. You must be kidding, said Lady Elaine. I just love to see new people and new things. And then she went back into the museum to work. Henrietta walked away sadly. I wasn't kidding, she thought. I don't want anybody new to come. She might just decide to stay, and she'd be prettier and sweeter than I... And Henrietta started to cry. It wasn't long before Daniel's striped tiger came by Henrietta's crying place. Henrietta and Daniel often played together. They were the same age. Why are you crying? Daniel asked. Because I'm sad, Henrietta answered. Well, why are you sad? Daniel asked. Henrietta told Daniel all about Colette's coming. She said she didn't want anybody new to arrive because there would be just too many people. She was feeling pretty jealous. Daniel said he understood because sometimes he felt that way too. And while they were talking, somebody carrying a suitcase came up to them and said, Excusez-moi, I am not speaking English very well. Could you help me? Henrietta and Daniel both said, Are you Colette? The visitor said, Oui, I am called Colette. I need help. I am looking for my Grand Paris. Henrietta looked at Daniel and then she looked at Colette and said, We will take care of you. We will take you to Grand Paris. Daniel helped carry the suitcase and Henrietta took Colette by the paw, and they all walked over to Grand Paris' Eiffel Tower. As Daniel and Henrietta walked home, Henrietta talked about the way they could help Colette understand X's Welcome Colette sign and Lady Elaine's Something Special sign. Daniel interrupted. Henrietta, I thought you didn't want anybody new to come to this neighborhood. And Henrietta said, I didn't at first, but I saw that Colette needed us, and I thought it was kind and nice to have her here. Daniel just said, "Aw," and the two of them walked past the crying place over to the secret place where they often liked to play. Henrietta was happy when she found out that Colette and Grand Paris really needed her. After that, she felt she could be a friend to Colette. Children are often surprised to find out how much grown-ups really need them. And it's a happy surprise, isn't it? All right, friends, so that is all for our focus and concentration games for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about getting along with each other while you're home together. So, that's going to be some fun games and some fun things we're going to do next week. All right, see you guys later.